Welcome back to Ox Tools. I'm Tom. So this is a Meatloaf 99. We're getting close to that 100, and I've gotten actually really strong response to the question and answer thing, which is cool. So I've been saving up a bunch of questions. Some guys have really put out some good questions. So this next week will be kind of the last chance to get some questions in if you're wondering about anything. So we're going to do a question and answer deal, and we'll walk around the shop and look at some of these things that people are asking about, and do that. So that's going to be that 100th episode. So today's actually my birthday. It's November 1st, and I've been playing around in the shop. But I also I went out to lunch with a friend of mine, and actually you guys know him, or a lot of you know him. That's Stan Zinkowski from Southern California. He happens to be up in the area doing actually real work instead of play work. So he installs spray booths and drying systems and whatnot for painting stuff. So that's his main business. Anyway, he's up in this area, and he said, "Hey, happy birthday! Let's go out to lunch." So we went out to lunch, and we also went to the local flea market. I kind of got skunked, but Stan actually made some pretty good scores, so he may show that his booty on his channel later on when he gets back back home. Actually, the funny part of the whole thing was I showed up wearing a Bar Z shirt, and he showed up wearing an Ox Tool shirt, so it was pretty funny when we met each other in the parking lot. We both got a laugh out of that, so wearing each other's shirts. So anyway, we had a great time yapping and bullshitting, walking around the flea market and looking at tools and filling up Stan's backpack. So he left, and his backpack had some weight. So I got a bunch of stuff to show you. I'm not going to list it. Let's just go look at some stuff and address some comments that came through that were actually good points, and we'll talk about that. So let's get cracking. All right, so this viewer appreciation comes to us from North Carolina, and this is from Aaron Meredith. And he is a sergeant in the crime prevention unit down there. He's in law enforcement, and he sent me some little goodies here too, which is great. Let's take a look at these. Now these are straight out of government surplus, which is pretty cool here. Maybe you guys can read that. But it's basically this long inventory tag basically for a bunch of rulers. Okay, so let's pull one out here. And they're kind of new old stock sheer Tomikos, and this is like a 4R graduation. And these are 300 millimeters long, or 12 inches. And what I find interesting here is if you look at the tag, they were packaged in June of 1964. So I was 3 years old. So, in fact, these have that kind of musty warehouse smell, government warehouse smell, It brings to mind that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where they put that crate in that giant warehouse and never to be seen again. Well, that's what that warehouse smells like, is this package right here, which is great. I love that kind of stuff. Anyway, there's some nice steel rulers here. There's a bunch of them, a little pack of them Aaron sent me. He makes pens as a hobby, and he likes watching the videos and playing in the shop. So he also sent me something, I guess it's kind of a challenge coin or emblem here, and it's a little what do you call these things anyway? They're just I call them challenge coins or whatever. So anyway, it's very nice. It's enameled, it looks like, and the Hartnett County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Larry Rollins. And anyway, Aaron, say hello to Larry, and thank you very much for the goodies, and be safe out there, okay? So thanks for the stuff. All right, so this next one here, this comes to us from our good buddy Randy Richard, of Randy Richard in the Shop. And, you know, we were kicking around some ideas for, you know, takeaways from these events that we're doing, right? You know, they're kind of like tool room chits or something like that. So, thanks for taking the time to help out with the punches for what's in your box. So he sent it as kind of a little thank you for that, and it says punches on it. He engraved that on there. And what's in your box? Toolmakers collaboration, little gear on there, and then this one here. This is just a Randy Richard in the Shop little emblem. So I think the general idea is that we would make these off and on for events, and then you would just collect them, and they'd be kind of bragging rights because you'd have a big fat key ring full of these things. So that was the thought anyway, but we'll see how that works out. Anyway, Randy, thank you very much. If you guys haven't checked out Randy's channel, here's a little link to Randy's channel, and it's in the description as well. Go check him out, give him a sub, or give him some likes, or don't. Do what you want. Anyway, Randy's a cool cat. Talk to you soon. All right, what we have here, this is an eBay purchase. This is another one of these ring dynamometers here, and but it's a different range than mine, the one that I made. This one's made out of steel, and you can see it's pretty thin here. The range on this one is 1,000 pounds, and each one of these divisions is 10 pounds. So it's got a little bit better resolution for doing, say, tool destruction and things like that. So now, the indicator was a little sticky on this one, and I thought I was going to have to send it back to my friend at MR Tool Repair, but I was able to free it up and get it acting well. Let's see if I can pull on it here a little bit. Oops. Well, maybe it's stuck again. Yeah. You know what? Well, I'll be sending this indicator back. It's a little flaky, the indicator. You see I pulled on it and or pushed on it and it stayed, which it's not supposed to do. Let's, I thought I had it. Let's pop it off of there. See if we can. And you know, these things are just dog simple, and so there it is, right? There's the heart of the thing, and obviously this is all sized so that it comes together. Well, see, it's, you know, what the hell's going on here? That seems to be fine. I don't know. Maybe I still need to send it back to him. He can put a new crystal on that and then clean everything up. And what the heck? All right, well, let's try putting it back now. And it's got a little, there's a screw down inside there so you can just dial in the zero easily. So, you know, lots of testing labs are going to, there we go, electronic stuff. So they're getting rid of all their, okay, well, there it's behaving itself. So you can either dial in a zero that way. Okay, so now it's behaving. I don't know. It sat overnight, then wasn't happy. I think I'll still send this back to MR Tool Repair and have them go through it, clean it up, and make it nice. It's got 3/8 24, roughly 10 millimeter threads in the end, so you can hook appliances on there to pull on it. This was $49 out of LA somewhere, and it's in pretty good shape. Not perfect. I don't even know why I was going to say that. Well, it's not beat to crap, I guess, because it wasn't in a box or anything. So that'll show up in some of our tool testing there. Okay, see that there? It's behaving itself, right? All right. Anyway, ring dynamometer made by Morehouse Company, eBay find. Okay, so this next one here, this comes to us from Brandon Nichols of DB Customs, and he's in Mulberry, Arizona. And Brandon contacted me and asked me if I would review one of his tools. So Brandon, he's getting into tool making and manufacturing, and has decided to market one of his tools. Now, and he sells them on eBay currently right now. So let's take a look at one of these. And he did a fancy pants box here for me to contain the tool, and I told him that I would do a review, and he said, well, you can keep the tool for your trouble, right? And I thought that was pretty nice. So let's take a look at it. There's how it comes. And what this is if you didn't catch it here, this is a rotary broaching tool, okay? And now we'll be testing this separately on another video, I think. I got to play around with it and set it up and all that. But the principle is that this rotates, okay, and I don't know if you can see that the tool holder part has got a little wobble going, okay? And the way that works is it uses a broaching tool similar to this one. This one's for a square hole. But what it does is that tool basically rocks as you push it in, and so you create a shearing action is what happens. And now the tool's not rotating, but the body of this is, which is causing this rapid wobbling as you push it down through. Now you drill a pilot hole and go down through. So Brandon, thank you very much. This will be shown in an upcoming test video. It'll be kind of a standalone video just to make it nice. And if you guys are interested in this, he sells them on eBay, and there's a link in the description, and we'll put a little auction number here so you guys can go find it if you want to look at them. His prices are reasonable, and but we'll test the tool and see how it goes. Sent some spare bearings with it and the whole 9 yards. So I have a couple of these around, and we'll give it a go. All right, Brandon, stay tuned for that. That'll be coming right up. Okay, so here's a couple of eBay purchases here. And I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. I got some Pratt and Whitney gauge blocks, and there was I don't have it out, but it was a pointed, actually I have it marked though, it was a pointed accessory for a gauge block, okay, and it was this little guy right here, this number 5, and they're calling it a center point for the Hoke gauge blocks. And so, I can see wanting to compare centers on something, but to me, this isn't necessarily a definitive gauging technique. It's hard to tell when it's, in a hole exactly, right? It's subject to interpretation, right? So, when you have a jaw like this where something fits in or it doesn't fit in, it's more definitive. And then here's the other thing. I didn't realize that... let's see, do I have a little point? Yeah, I got a little pointer right here. They have these little thumb screws here so that you don't transfer heat into it, which is another important thing if you're doing a lot of gauging here. And here they have it set up to do an ID, a bore or something like that. So kind of cool. So let's flip it. I'm not going to go through the whole book. This is, Pratt and Whitney, because of their manufacturing, they had to make their own gauges, special gauges for some of their manufacturing operations. So as a side to that, they sold gauges too. I really like this one here. This is cool. How to set up your own central measuring laboratory, right? And it gives pointers for doing that if you want to set up your own laboratory and maintain gauges and whatnot. Pretty cool. So this one is, I don't remember what year this one is, 50 something I think. He says, yeah, 54. Because it's got some prices in here, and I was looking at the prices. I was like, okay, all right, those aren't dirt cheap, so it's not super old. And then this one here is just small tools, you know, taps and dies and things like that. Isn't that a great picture? Look at that. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's just, I like these kind of old. They're photographs, but they're shaded or something. I'm not sure how these were produced, or if it's actually just a drawing. I think it's a treated photograph, but I'm not positive, so maybe somebody out there knows that. But that's just an excellent, boom, you know, picture of a cutter there. So this is for James Kilroy here, you know, to get him slavering here. He's the master of the screw plate, and so there's a Pratt and Whitney screw plate there. Anyway, they have a few of those, so I picked that one out for James because I know he likes those. Let's see what else we got in here that I marked. Oh, and then Adam, you know, he's Mr. Tap Wrench here. Now, this is kind of a sissy size here. This one's only 34 inches overall length. That's kind of a weenie one there, only an 1.5 inch tap. So, you know, Adam's probably or meh, you know, not that impressive. And then the last thing I wanted to show in this was these Pratt and Whitney Keller machines. And what these are they're duplicators, and they have a stylus that follows a template. In this case, it looks like part of a car body or something like that. And you know, these are very big machines here. And then it has a milling head that's milling a piece of material there, so pretty cool. So I've talked about Kellering before in some videos and on the blog, and it's a duplicating technique. So anyway, Pratt and Whitney books. I think I paid about 10 or 15 bucks a piece for these, and it's just fun to look at them, you know, old books. So. I was looking at some of the comments, and somebody or a couple people commented. They said, hey, you know, you guys have these surface plates, and how come you don't have covers for them? And that's actually an excellent question, because you know, people think of these as tables, right? But they're not tables. They're not workbenches, and they're not tables. And you can probably see over here I got something sitting on this one. These are instruments, actually. So this is a very flat plane, and it's an instrument and a tool, and you know, ideally it's treated as such. Unfortunately, there are big flat areas in shops that typically don't have enough horizontal space to have enough workbench and keep their surface plate clear. So the bottom line is I have a cover for this. So I have actually two covers, and let me pop this off here. So I have the, you know, I call it the quick cover, and this is just to, you know, keep dirt and stuff off of this, and just, you know, and it actually doesn't even fit that great, but it protects most of it. And you know, you can set a gauge down on there, and it doesn't dink it or anything like that. And then I have a, you know, if I'm not going to use it for a long time, I have a, you know, a wood cover, and this is a kind of a chowder wood cover. And I felt so guilty after reading that comment that I called Standridge and I ordered a proper cover for this thing. So it should be here any day. And I ordered a custom fitted one for this other rock over here that is an oddball size. So you guys shamed me into buying a proper cover. So if you have a good surface plate, if you've invested in a good surface plate, you should protect it with a cover, and don't set, you know, don't set stuff that doesn't belong on there, right? I mean, it should be measuring instruments, gauges, and parts, and not your coffee cup and your lunch and that kind of stuff. So anyway, a good point there. Keep your plates covered, and when not in use. And there's the, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to show the big one. So anyway, good point. Thanks for shaming me into that. All right, a couple guys were asking about these insert chucks that I use in the 4-jaw or sometimes in the 6-jaw, depending on what chuck's mounted on the lathe. So I have a 3-jaw here, and then I have a small 4-jaw, okay? And the main reason I did this was because these large chucks, some of them don't close down to a small diameter. Like if I wanted to close down on a diameter like that, I couldn't really do it with the big 4-jaw or the big 6-jaw. So I just popped these things in there for those kind of quick little operations. And so all I did was I just made a mounting spud for the back. These are all, they bolt through the front into this back plate here. And I just chuck on that and indicate them in. Actually, I just rough indicate the chuck, and then I indicate the part to take out any run out, well, not on this one, but on the 3-jaw for sure. Any anomalies in the 3-jaw. You know, as these wear, they wear in, oh wow, look at that. I did never even notice that. Son of a gun, is that a crack or a scratch? I think it's a scratch. I have to look at that under some magnification. Anyway, this is an adjust-through chuck, so you can actually center up on that, but if you put this in the 4-jaw, it's kind of irrelevant, doesn't really matter. And so it's just made out of steel, and I bored a hole in it a little bit bigger than the maximum size that would fit through that, so just so I had a little extra room there. I think those are 50 millimeter or 2 inches, okay? Those are kind of handy because you can just toss them in there and you're off to the races. The little 4-jaw is pretty handy, same thing, it's just mounted slightly different. But this one is nice because you can dial your part in Nat's ass there. So anyway, those are the little insert chucks. I hope that explains it. These are just made out of steel. Nothing fancy. You just have to get that face, this face running nice and true. That's the key. You don't want the chuck doing an orbit there of some oddball shape. So. Okay, so this next one here, I did a little horse trading with a friend of mine online. That's Alex Kern, otherwise known as Chief Bub on Instagram. He and I met on Instagram, I think, and he's a Herman Schmitt aficionado. And anyway, we talked back and forth on Instagram and through the messenger thing. So anyway, he ended up with 2 of these things, and what these are, they're little, basically they're little loops, but they're kind of a microscope, and they have these different reticles that can go in here that have different, you won't be able to see it. You might if I tilt this and it catches in the light just right, but etched on the glass is a different pattern, so you can take measurements of small things with this. Anyway, ended up with 2 of these, and he says, hey, you got one of these? And I said, well, I do, but I don't have mine's kind of a cheesy one, and actually I have multiples now. I have a better one now that a viewer sent me, so it's actually, I don't remember the brand. So this is a Mitutoyo, if you couldn't read that, and he ended up with 2 of them. Now this one's neat because it's got a lighted accessory with it. So let's put that together. I got to pull that off initially, and it goes like this. That inserts in there. Now this totally has the, I don't know, 1960s or 70s kind of offshoot. You know, this is the vinyl case. And this flashlight is, you know, it's just got the 60s flashlight look to it to me anyway. And it's very unlike how Mitutoyo is now. So this is, you know, they're entering the market, the US market at least. And okay, so then you put the reticle on here. Let me get that light. You're not going to be able to look through it, so I'm just going to put it together for you so you can kind of see. It snaps on like that, and then this has got it's got a light. So now I can go down and, well, take a look at it. I shouldn't use those other words. and then you can focus on it, and you can actually take measurements. It's got, this particular one has radii in it, it's got angles in it, and it's got a linear scale of some dimensions. Anyway, Alex and I traded. I sent him a little, I had a little stare at level that he was interested in, that was kind of surplus to my needs, and anyway, he, so it was kind of funny. I laid a bunch of stuff out and I took a picture of it, and I go, hey, anything floating your boat there? And he goes, ooh, that level looks pretty good, I could use that. And I said, okay. So a couple of packages crossed each other in the mail, and he got his stuff and I got my stuff, and two happy guys. So what more could you ask for? Anyway, thanks, Alex. It was a nice trade, and I'm happy with the tool, and I hope you like your levels. So, all right, so this next one here, this is kind of a two-banger here. So, you know, I made this brass part for the little baby bullet, and some guys commented on this little deburring tool that I was using here, and so they asked, they go, oh, what the heck is that? You know, tell me about that. And so here I am, I'll tell you about it. A friend of mine that I used to work with, his name is Joel Schmitt, and he's actually has his own shop out in the Central Valley in California here, but we used to work together in a shop, and he, I don't know, he borrowed a, you know, I don't remember how the discussion got started, but anyway, he was talking about deburring tools, and he says, oh yeah, this, you know, I have one that works great, right? And now at the time, he was coming into our shop, and you know, he's kind of a hired gun. You know, he came in for a few days and he would work, and then he would go somewhere else, right? And so he would just bring kind of minimal tools. You know, it wasn't like he rolled his rollaway in. And I let him work out of my box when he would come by our shop, which was fine. And so anyway, he told me about this tool, and he was deburring some, I want to say it was Teflon, or so it was a little Teflon part, and he said, yeah, you know, I have this one that I made that works great for this, and you don't have one, you know, he was whining about it. And so anyway, he described it, so I made one, and he goes, oh yeah, that's it, perfect, right? And he used it on the next time he was there, right? Well, you know, I said, well, what's the big deal, right? I was like, you know, all right, it doesn't sound like any magic tool or whatever, but it actually works good for certain kinds of things, okay? This is one of them where you have an edge here, and you just want to scrape it. So it has an edge that's not beveled, and then it has a beveled edge. So you can use it kind of two ways, depending on the material that you're using. Anyway, it just turns out that it's kind of handy, and it's made out of an old parting blade. Not an old one, actually a new one that I don't happen to have a holder for, that I picked up. So it's high-speed steel, and it's, you know, so it's nice and durable, and it's sharp here. Okay, it's pretty sharp. So anyway, I've had this for years actually, and Joel's used it a few times, and I've used it many, many times, and it works pretty good. So some guys asked about it. There it is. We'll throw some dimensions down so you guys can get an idea of what you know, sizes here, what size it is. All right, you know, 12 millimeters wide, blah, 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 and it's, you know, a couple millimeters thick. So off you go. Okay, so the second part of this is this guy here. Some guys asked, they go, oh, well, hey, that's you know, you're introducing a different material in there. And, you know, you're absolutely right, I am. And it's, you know, I want to say that it's a tricky decision to change materials and upgrade or downgrade or whatever when I'm doing a kind of a copy job on this Wilton vise, right? Now this is an external part, so it's, you know, it's pretty benign to change this one because I can always go back and do another one, and actually I have several others. And I just thought this was a very minor change and a decorative one on top of that, so that's kind of why I did it. Now as far as strength, it's kind of a non-issue. The way this works is, you know, it sits in this groove, right? And, you know, when we tighten the vise up, all the force is up against this particular face right here, okay? In fact, if you were going to do an improvement, you'd put a little thrust bearing in there or something like that, right? A little bronze bush or a needle bearing or something like that. That would be a nice upgrade there, but we're not doing that. Now, where this comes into play is when you back it up, okay, this internal face here comes out, and the first thing it meets is the face of that, okay? But this is an opening force, okay? So it's basically whatever drag is on the, you know, between the, this part and this part, the male and the female, right? And you can see that it's not particularly a high force there, okay? So bottom line is this will probably last a very long time, and as it wears, you know, it's just more of a part of a turn to engage it, and then, yeah, you're right, eventually it would work its way through there, and the whole world would implode, and, you know, the Earth would cease to rotate. So, yeah, it's probably not going to last forever. Anyway, I just wanted to comment on that and show you the Schmitt deburring tool. And Joel, if you're watching this, thanks for showing me that 20-something years ago. So, talk to you soon. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was these little decorative, or the little stoppers on the end of this this handle. So some of you guys also follow Keith Rucker as well, and if you don't, you should. Here's a little link to his site, and Keith actually was doing a video on this very same subject. And it's funny because it was absolutely, completely coincidental. And you know, that's the problem in this video business is everything's fair game for everybody else, right? Now, I'd like to think that Keith was copying me by working on a Wilton, but that's probably wasn't the case. Anyway, Keith happened to be taking a vise apart and taking these off. And I was doing kind of the reverse of that, and I was putting them on. So anyway, it's good. I get to see Keith's video and how he took his off, and he gets to see mine, how I put them back on. So anyway, purely coincidental, and that's the, like I said, the danger in this business is that somebody else can beat you to it. So now, you know, in the end, it's all good fun, and you know, we learn from each other's videos, and it's great. So, and like I said, if you haven't seen Keith's video on that, go check it out. It's pretty good. And see, now I should have used the upset technique, because then I'd be completely different, right? So maybe I'll have to do a separate video on that one and show that. So. Anyway, Keith, you beat me to it. Good job. Talk to you soon.